So on the left is Mike Van Wyck, or as a lot of people have been calling him now, Mike Van Dick. And he just assaulted the guy on the right, renowned as one of the nicest gym influencers in the community, Jeff Nippard. Jeff speculates that the only reason he can think of for the attack was because of this video.
We all know the science-based guys. Any top three you choose. Tell me if you would describe their physique as excellent, average, or mediocre. And where would you put them in that? I guarantee it's not in excellent. It's somewhere in the middle, right? Science guys really need to answer this question before anything. Why is it that you remain so mediocre, yet you know so much? Because if I knew a lot of shit, I would be very well versed and good at that topic, right? Like say I was some financial wizard. I knew how to like read the stock market, and I'm like, I can see investments and like I can see what businesses are going to succeed. I'd be fucking rich, right? People would be like, yeah, he's a fucking genius because like look at him, he applied it and it fucking worked. Bodybuilding, you can be like this big or this short in some cases, maybe this short in other cases. It's always short though, no taller than Bassett. Somehow you're an expert on muscle, but you don't have any. And if you do have any, it's not that well put together, and there's a lot of like holes in the physique, and you've prided yourself on being strong. Fucking little, but I'm strong. Fucking stronger than you, dude. It's like, strong doesn't matter. You still are trying to squat 6 plates. I'm not squatting 6 plates. My legs are still bigger than yours. I don't know the science-based guys. Science guys really need to answer this question before anything. Why is it that you remain so mediocre, yet you know so much?
I know I don't need to respond to this, but since he asked, using science-based training, I won Natural Bodybuilding Nationals. I earned my pro card on the most competitive stage in the World Natural Bodybuilding Federation. I placed second in my first bodybuilding pro show, and while doing this, I set the Canadian record on the bench press, and I set a provincial record on the squat. I currently weigh 180 pounds at 5 foot 5 inches tall, which is pretty close to my natural limit given my height and my genetics. That's all besides the point though, because facts are facts. Information is either right or wrong. It doesn't matter who that information is coming from. If the people with the best physiques had the most knowledge, why would C-Bum need a coach? He has the best physique on the planet. Who could possibly know more than him? Well, it's pretty obvious that bodybuilding success comes from great genetics and really hard training, and if you want to make it in the IFBB, steroid use. I like science because it gives me more confidence in what actually works and what doesn't, because it isolates variables. If you trust a big guy's advice over scientific studies, that doesn't bother me. I listen to what big guys have to say too.
But in my opinion, it's much deeper than that, while at the same time simpler than that. You see, Mike is a tall, big, and catted man who has been in scenarios and jobs his whole life where he has to pose as a tough guy. And over the years, he's developed a need to be a tough, edgy guy with all the tattoos, like he's a Cali gangbanger or something, like been to prison, types of stuff, right? Meanwhile, Jeff has always been himself, a short, nerdy guy who enjoys training and maximizing training by science due to him having poor genetics, also simultaneously making him an easy target and irritable, because when somebody that you think is lesser than you is being snarky, it aggravates you more. So on top of that, you're using basic psychology. The reason this bothers Mike is they're polar opposites on the outside, but on the inside, Mike is really a nerd who wants to be a nerd, but believes he can't be a nerd due to his stature. I mean, if you take a look through his videos, he's not actually a bad guy. I actually think he had some funny moments.
I just jerked off 2 minutes ago, I'm fine. That's gonna be like a personal preference thing, guys. If you bust a load and you got no motivation to do anything after, probably wait till you're done working out, you know what I mean? In terms of your, it affecting performance on like a hormonal level or something, I don't think that that's the case. I'd be wanting to see the research on that. I mean, like if you're like most guys out there, and we can all admit to it, if we've gotten our rocks off, we're just kind of like, I'm just gonna lay here now. I'm not gonna do much.
And the thing about it is, many moments, he comes across as a straight up geek despite his appearance. But due to his own beliefs about himself, he doesn't believe that he should be as nerdy as Jeff Nippard, so it irritates him. So any microaggressions that Jeff does irritates him times 10. So it's interesting too, because when you look at videos, they've been going to the same gym for years. And similarly, Mike has been hating on Jeff and science guys for years, while directly talking about him in many videos without actually directly mentioning his name.
Yeah, I was watching YouTube the other day. Something that my usual feed popped up onto my feed for some unknown reason, because I really can't fucking stand the person that popped up on it, but YouTube likes to torture me. This particular video was a very nerdy individual going in depth about Sam Sulek's workout regimen, sets and rep schemes. Well, the most outlandish thing about the video is that this person stated that they had watched all of this person's training videos. And also, a sidebar, Sam looks 1000% better than this person does. And this person is not so much critiquing their physique, kind of just saying like, well, whatever he's doing is working for him. It's like, yeah, which is the exact opposite of what you do, dude. Critiquing or you're breaking down for some unknown reason, but you're basically disproving your stance on working out by showing that this guy does this, which is considered not science or whatever, you're basically showing in a comparison, like he's standing here with his shirt off, posing, looking like a pretty big monster for a 21-year-old kid. You're a fucking grown adult who is tiny and has no physique to speak of, and hangs his hat on how strong he is for his size. What point were you trying to make there? That everyone, like everything can work at all times, but yet you preach science. This is the least scientific guy we know, apparently, and least form functional, apparently, and all this stuff. You're pointing all this out in the video, basically just debunking your own style.
However, Yuff decided to stitch one of his videos and to defend himself because it was just too blatant. And this triggered Mike because how dare a nerd who's half his size and isn't tatted up and isn't a tough guy and isn't putting on a prison persona, how dare he try to embarrass-beat Mike? And with the CCTV footage seen, we can also see Jeff taking a position of arrogance by putting his hands behind his back, almost insinuating that Big Mike isn't a threat to him and violence isn't a possibility. You know, like when like Frieza pulled up fighting behind, you know, like anytime you see the villain or the master just has the hand behind the back as if, you know, this person can't harm me at all. This triggered the shit out of Mike, if we're being honest. But point blank period, bullies hate nerds, and the usual reason behind them hating nerds is because they're usually a nerd on the inside themselves. Although it's fine to dislike someone for whatever reasons you may have, it's never okay to assault someone, especially without any violence introduced in the first place. I mean, the man sent him flying. He's half his size. But let me know your opinions on the situation, though. This is just my opinion from a psychological standpoint, but even if you look at how he dealt with the cameraman after, it's just a bunch of like bully versus nerds, in my opinion.
All right, Mike says, "What's up?" So we see Jeff and Mike exchange, and it looks like Jeff had a smile, and it looks like Mike turned around, said something to him. Now we see Mike over here. Okay, so Mike comes over here to the equipment rack to get something. It doesn't look like he looks at Jeff, and he goes back. And he was training his client. And Jeff is there filming. And now watch. So Jeff says something to his cameraman. And then it looks like he calls over to Mike. It looks like if you zoom in here, it looks like he calls his name. Mike looks over. His cameraman follows. Jeff says something to his cameraman. And now they go over to Mike, and the camera's pointed at Mike, and now he takes him, he throws him. It looks like he's tripped over that bench. They get closer together. They exchange words later. He takes Jeff again, pushes him by his throat. Jeff has his hands up. He doesn't want any part of this. I don't blame him. And then take a look here at the cameraman. He pushes the cameraman. He walks away. And that's what we have here on the footage.